Graham, when we crossed paths on Saturday, just before you went to go and do one of your TV interviews, you said, I bet you didn't expect that as you walked past me. Have you surprised yourself, and have you surprised, are the team surprised by how well you started this season and, the performances that you put in so far?
No, I wouldn't say surprised. I was surprised at the scoreline. I don't, look, 5-3 isn't a normal result, and scoring 5 goals away from home isn't normal. So, but the win didn't surprise me. I felt we could go there and win, and that's what we planned for, and that's why we worked so hard in pre-season, not just to win the first game, but to put in place a winning mentality, a winning formula over the next 10 months. So we can only talk about that individual game, but winning the game didn't surprise me. There's no disrespect to anyone, but I believe that we have good players here with a good motivation to win games. So but the 5-3 I think would have took everyone by surprise, to be fair. But I thought we deserved it without a shadow of a doubt with how we played.
Given that we didn't really see what your side were capable of during pre-season because of the training sessions, they're going into games tired and so forth. Yeah. Did it raise an eyebrow for them as well? Were they somewhat sort of taken aback by how well they've performed? Or again, is this just
I think no. Look, it's because there's a few new players, but there's a lot of players that obviously here last season, so that's not been the norm for them. So and the results in pre-season weren't anything special to write home about, but I wasn't fussed about them. It was about the process of building a team again and building a new team, but building one up as well. And if we'd have won the first 3 pre-season games, it didn't matter to me. I needed to see continual improvement in mentality, in their physical output, in their understanding of the tactical game, their relationships with each other, all those things that create success over a 10-month period. We needed to see progress in them. So sometimes the scoreline can overshadow things that are going well and some things that need to be exposed. So, but once we get down to the competitive games, then we're in a need to win sort of mentality. And the players, what it did, I felt, I felt it because we'd had those spells in games where we were on top or we pressed really well and we were playing with an intensity, but it was never really a prolonged spell over the course of a whole game. And there's reasons for that, because we didn't play many games where the lads played 90 minutes, so there was always changes in those games. But we wanted to see a longer spell and a sustained spell, and that's what we had against Wrexham right from the off. Even the the last goal from Dan Harvey, it was the 90th minute, but we were still pressing from the front and turned the ball over all the way across the pitch. So that showed me that the players are believing in what we've tried to put in place, what we've tried to change. But you need results to verify that improvement. So it was, for me, it was a brilliant 3 points, really valuable. But for me, also, it was a building block for us on the mindset about what we can achieve.
And I'm sure it puts a pep in everyone's step as well, doesn't it? Coming in this week, everybody's now then buoyed and thinking, oh, do you know what? There's something really good brewing.
Yeah, I think so. Listen, there's it cracks me up when people say, oh, that was a good win Saturday, and I think all wins are good. All wins are good. I've learned that many years ago, that the game's about winning, and it has so many offshoots of positive feeling and extra motivation to work it even harder in training, focusing team meetings on the analysis side of it, all that sort of thing. It breeds a lot of good habits, and that's what we're trying to instill here, like habits, daily habits of continual improvement, progression, competitive levels. But one result doesn't mean that the work stops, and we're there, because we're not. I still feel, and what gives me real excitement with this group of players is, I don't think we're the finished article yet. So that's a great start, and it's another step in progression. But there's still more to come, and there's still more for us to work for.
And it seemed like, having spoken to a few of the players and yourself about it, and hearing about the Germany trip, bringing everybody together, there was an awful lot of celebrations that came along and happened in front of the dugout with the rest of the team. That shows there's a real camaraderie amongst this group.
Look, it's a big thing I believe in. That you know, if it's about individuals, then that's golf, that's tennis, that's darts or whatever. It's not. It's a team sport, and you achieve nothing without a group of people coming together. And we're big believers in that. We've always tried to instill that. The best teams that I play for are the ones that were all together, and not the most successful ones, but they were always the ones that I wanted to be a part of. You know, because you know we're brought up in a group atmosphere, a team aspect from the age of 8, 7, whatever we were when we started playing football. It drew you towards it, and I think it's important. So everything we do is together. Everything, you know, when we eat, even when we sleep, it's all that sort of things. You know, when we go out for a morning run, everyone's on it. It's really important for us to create that group, because I know for a fact with the output on Saturday physically, with a group of players, it wasn't just down to their physical preparations and their physical. It was down to their mentality. And that looking around at each other and not wanting to let each other down, and that's what saw through for a brilliant 3 points. And we're going to need that on many occasions this season. It's, you know, there's games you win when you play really well. There's games you win when you have to grind out a result. There's games you win where it's just a mentality, and that's what you have to put together over the course of a whole season. So it's great to see that bond forming. There's still, like I say, there's still a bit to go. But the early signs are that they want to be together, that they believe in each other, and we have to continue that. You can't ever sort of take your eye off that. It's really important. Even when we walk out of the change rooms, we wait for the last man, then we go out together. All those little things, they might seem really small at the time, but you add them all together, and it's a great mentality to be part of. I want players that go, I love being part of this group, not what is in it for me. It's actually, I want to be with this group all the time, and we're starting to see that forming.
And you're starting to welcome people back as well from injuries. You know, Conor Grant was on the bench last night, having not really featured an awful lot. Obviously, he's fit and ready enough to be in your plans. But how are Dean Lewington and Matt Dennis getting on?
Yeah, Dean's still a couple of weeks away from starting training again. Matt Dennis we see him around the periphery of our training pitch for the last couple of days, so I think he'll be quite quickly back. But you know, he's missed a big chunk of pre-season, and he needed to improve his physical aspect anyway. So there's a lot of work for him to do to be available for selection. Conor Grant, he's trained with us a couple of days, but because of the games, they've not been full on training sessions, so he's still a bit to go, because he's missed maybe 3-4 weeks of pre-season as well. So it's important that we get good training times into these guys, because we do need them. You can see the strength of the squad needs more within it, so we can get to those 70-minute marks and make changes that improve the performance, and these guys will help us do that.
In terms of Dean Lewington, you know, obviously a big figure here, and plays a part behind the scenes as well, doesn't he? Not just when he's fit and playing, but when he's not as well.
Yeah, look, I think any player with that amount of experience and knowledge, you know, needs to be around the group. If they're not obviously with their kit on. So you know, he's been like that in the change room before the game. Not so much on the training pitch, because obviously he's doing his rehab and we're separated at the moment. But look, it's important. But the important thing for me is when we speak to experienced players, or we see experienced players, that they understand what we're inputting into the team, and that message is continued. You know, so you know, likes of Louis, Alex Gilby, Tommy Smith, these guys, MJ. You know, they have to understand what we are trying to create here, and then continue those messages. And that's why we're quite clear in our analysis. We let everybody know what we're looking for from every part of the team, because those messages have to be continued when we're not around. You know, or you know, on the middle of the pitch, on the other side of the pitch. You know, all these sort of things we can't continue to communicate. So the more intelligent players. I wouldn't even say it has to be experienced players. I think it's the players that can take on messages, pass those messages on, and that can be a 21-year-old if they're confident enough to do that and intelligent enough to understand what we want. So those players are really important for any coaching staff, I feel.
What's Louis like as an injured player? I mean, this is probably the longest we've seen him out, given that he had surgery at the start of the year, and I think that was his longest spell out of the side ever, and immediately picks up an injury in the start of pre-season. How does he cope with that? Because that's something that he's probably not had to deal with in his career before.
I don't know, to be honest, because I tend to deal with the fit players and leave the injured lads to the experts. I know nothing about injuries, it's one of those where, listen, I keep in constant communication with Adam and any of the other medical guys on the progression of players. Look, it's one of them where that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about that environment, that brotherhood between the players. That if a player's out injured, he's desperate to get back. We want that, I want to be back in the group, because you are separated as an injured player. Obviously we're based at the stadium. We go up to Woughton to train, and those guys are left behind on sometimes like that. But we all eat together, morning, afternoon, stuff like that. And he's been in on meetings as well when we're having the analysis meetings, because, like I said, we all need to understand the same message. Listen, I know from my own experience as a player, I was really fortunate with injuries, but if there was any time when I missed football, it was like my oxygen was taken away, and it was horrendous. I absolutely hated it. So I did everything I could to be fit, and I think Louis is the same sort of mentality. He doesn't. His record shows that he's not hugely injured. That's the reality. So the sooner he's back available and competing with everyone else, the better for us.
Onto the recruitment machine then. How's everything looking? Obviously still in the market for a frontman.
We're in the market for on the lookout for more than just a striker. I think it's important that we don't just think one striker will fix everything or something like that. I think it's important that we have competition throughout the team. We have that ability on 65, 70 minutes to bring on the subs that will help improve our performance, will help us either see out a winning margin or get us back into the game, which we've had both scenarios in the last two games, including the league and the cup game. So we need to be able to, listen, the modern game is a squad game. For the last 20 years, it's been a squad game. It's not been just about the starting 11. So it's important that we have competition, variable options to be able to play for any particular game, and that work is ongoing. I speak to Liam every single day, speak to the chairman a few times a week about what we can do to help this group of players be successful over 10 months, and so we can't rely on the 11, 12 senior established players for the rest of the season. Some of the younger players have got to step up to that level. That's really important for us. So they've got to understand what it takes to win in league football, not just play. The levels are expected to win, compete with senior players, push them out of the team if they can, and but we need to obviously recruit as well. Not massive numbers, but it's we need to try and improve that team if we can.
Does it would the number perhaps change if there were outbounds as well, or are there players who you think you may need to move on?
Yeah, look, it's one where I've always kept an open mind about players that we definitely want to keep, players that are on the periphery that either step up to the plate or see their futures elsewhere. We always we don't want players that don't want to be here. That's the reality of the situation, that we don't want to do that. But if there is players that would like to move on, do want to move on, then we have a valuation of that. But it's you don't know what's around the corner in football, especially in a transfer window. But we know we've got a core group of players that we're really excited about. I think we know we can win with, but there is still improvement on that side of it, and it's down to the players. This is a meritocracy here. if you can help us win a game, then you've got a chance of playing. But it's not just wait for your turn to play. You have to earn that shirt, and that's what we're trying to create as an environment here.
To Tranmere at the weekend, then a team that knows their way around League Two, knows their way around the EFL, and another tough task. I mean, they're all going to be difficult this season, aren't they? But
yeah,
Tranmere's just the next one.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. Honestly, if we think the level of competitiveness and opposition is going to drastically change, and we can change with it, we're completely wrong. We have to be our best every single game, and that's why I try to focus on us as often as possible, because I know what I expect from the players. I know what they're capable of, and regardless, even if we win a game, but I think the levels are down, we will be honest with that and say, listen, winning is first and foremost, and the result is the most important thing. But I think we can do things better, and we can do this. But there'll be other games where we've played really well. I take the cup game into last night. I felt we played pretty well, and we had more than enough chances to score. So I wasn't angry with the players at all last night. I was angry at the result because we want to win, but the performance was there. It's just about finishing it off at both ends of the pitch. So the task on Saturday will be as tough as it was last Saturday, for different aspects. And it's one here we want to start off a league campaign at home with a win to build that confidence here as well.
You've obviously spoken about your unique connection to Milton Keynes from your playing days. You've had a taste of playing here at Stadium MK already with the Cup, but what are you looking forward to or expecting from your first home league game?
I want us to create an atmosphere within the team that the supporters can hook into. I think it's a two-way street. I think the supporters can help us with the noise they create, but also we have to give them something to create that. I thought we did that. I would say it was a little bit the other way around. I think at Wrexham, I stay in the changing room when the lads are out warming up, and all I could hear was our fans singing songs. I thought it was a home game, to be honest, because our changing room was right under our supporters. It was fantastic. And when the first guy come in, I said, "Is that our lot out there right above it?" And they were going, "Yeah, it's brilliant." No, fantastic. So we use that as a little bit of inspiration for the players going out there. Listen, we can't let them down. They're hearing numbers showing brilliant loyalty after a difficult time. We have to respond to that and give them something to reward them for that support. And other times it will be us that's triggering that. And that's what we have to do. I think because it's such a brilliant stadium, but it's very big, and we won't be able to fill it. Certainly right now, we have to create an atmosphere within the team, as in a tension, an intensity, and when we've done that, the supporters, I think, just in the pre-season games, the supporters have responded to that in their numbers behind us. So we have to do that, here. I know that's a fact, and that's what we're trying to do. We have to, we try and create an intensity in training when there's absolutely no one there, because obviously it's just us training. But there's got to be an atmosphere and an intensity, a feeling, and an emotion around how we play, and that's what we want to bring here. And I know, from listening to supporters and meeting them on the occasion I have done over the last month or so, that they want to get behind us, and so we have to reward that sort of loyalty again. One game isn't enough. It's a great start against Wrexham, but if we can tap into that, I think it's a community that we want to bring together, as in this football community, the supporters, the fans, the players, the staff, everyone together. And we had that. It was brilliant to be a part of that. If any player, staff member, support, must have got a massive buzz from that last week. Not just the result, but actually the connection that we had together. And we need to work hard to continue that.